The thug is in.
I just wanted to um start up this video by showing that the sports room is absolutely going nuts. Absolutely nuts right now. For something soccer related. I don't know. I think it's funny. Just wanted to show you guys. Oh yes, I was trying to spam and I did get first. So yes. Might put that on my resume that I did type first after it was set to mod chat. Okay. Now we are going to talk about the video. ADV 1v1 Duo Swiss Round 2. I'm going to be doing analysis, highlights, all that stuff. You guys kind of know the drill. If you guys haven't seen part 1, then you guys should watch that. Talked a lot about a lot of the trends that we saw in round 1. And let's just get to it. So, okay. So let's just really quick. I just want to really quick show Sceptile's versatility. No analyzing. Just let's look at all of these games. Sceptile won all of these games. Sceptile won a stupid amount of games. Let's just look at what Sceptile is beating. Sceptile, Heracross, Bug Type, Aerial Ace. It's gone. The preview pressure is insane. Sceptile here. Salamence, Flying Type, Big Dragon into a Lizard. What is happening? Sub. Pataya Hidden Power Ice. There goes Salamence. Oh, we got a Marowak. Remember when Marowak beat the Sceptile last time? Well, this one is just not Swords Dance. This is Adam versus Lay. This is a pretty big set that happened because they both like ADV 1v1 a lot and both won their first matches. So you see Sub Protect Leech Seed defensive Sceptile putting in work, beating a Marowak. Look at this. Venusaur is supposed to beat the Sceptile. But such is the power of Bandit Aerial Ace Sceptile. Bam! Beats Venusaur. Venusaur is supposed to be a Sceptile answer because Hidden Power Ice does nothing. Leech Seed does not affect the Venusaur, but you can already see, like, think about all these Sceptiles that you're now having to start to take into account. This is a crazy one. Blanche, look at this crazy preview. We see an Earthquake Sceptile get a win. If this was Hidden Power Ice, it probably should have won, but it wasn't. It was Hidden Power Grass for the shaky Swampert matchup. Here, Omi tries to use Sharpedo again. Goes Registeel. Ice Punch Registeel. Let's ignore that one. Let's go to this one, which is more interesting. Not a Racist, bringing the sample team versus Beans on Toes with the surprise, not surprise really, defensive Sceptile. Check this out. Sub. We see Amnesia, Registeel. Here we go. Leech Seed. Amnesia. But with Leech Seed and Seismic Toss, you break through Registeel enough to where even if Registeel rests, you actually still KO Registeel in 3 turns before it can rest again, which is super cool, even with Lefty's recovery. So this Registeel can Seismic Toss all at once, but check this out. Look at how much Sceptile hears after Seismic Toss still. Here comes Registeel, Seismic Toss, 70. Lefties, Leech, 90. Look. You can just see the preview pressure of Sceptile here already. Lot to account for on preview. And that is why Sceptile is putting in work and is winning a lot of games. Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of give a brief show off, like, you know, Sceptile was winning games in very cool ways. Now we're going to go to another fast Pokemon that I made a video on, Tauros. And it started to put in some work. I couldn't find the replay where Tauros just outsped a Zapdos and KO'd it with Banned Hyper Beam, which, by the way, is an amazing Zapdos answer. It's just Banned Hyper Beam, Tauros with Hyper Beam, no being slower than Zapdos and playing all these different games. Yes, they are all very excited. Okay. Yeah, so here we see a very interesting team from Reese, who did win in 5 in this series. Gligar, which I've not seen at all, and Tauros and Charizard. And here we see a Tauros just outspeeding the Starmie. Probably Jolly Band Tauros. Bam! Hyper Beam dies. And here we see another thing. Now, I'm going to be talking about Tauros, but there's also an interesting dynamic going on with Tauros in the move substitute. So check out this replay here. We got Shubname versus Blues Energy 0-0 using my Tauros team here. And let's just watch how this matchup plays out versus Raikou. If Shubname probably knows what this set is, we can click substitute turn 1. Tauros subs himself, which is an interesting decision. Let's actually see. I want to see just how well does the calc show here. Yeah, it actually does show well. I want to see the Tauros with the 52 HP. How much does it take from a Raikou Thunderbolt? Wow, I did not. That was unintentional. So Blue's idea was maybe like, okay, well, yeah, yeah, you could sub. So if Raikou clicked Thunderbolt turn 1, right? Tauros could have subbed into Lychee, and then I guess consistently pressured Raikou with Body Slam plus Earthquake, which has enough 8p power points to take down a pressure stalling Raikou. Shubname makes the sub play here, so let's see how this plays out. Leftovers recovery. It's going to go Thunderbolt to break the sub. Good decision. Body Slam breaks the substitute, and now here, does Raikou even die? Yeah, check this out. So Raikou doesn't even die to anything that Tauros can use. So what really, 72 to 85, what happened here? Wait, where's the replay? I gotta X out of these replays. Hold on. Bam, 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 bam. Here. I think what Shubname could have done here, this is actually me just doing this live, is I think Shubname could have clicked Protect here, gotten that Leftovers recovery, and Earthquake would be totally out of range. So you could Thunderbolt again, because here's something important that we'll talk about later. But yes, this is Lychee Berry Tauros, but in ADV, even if Shubname clicked Thunderbolt into the Tauros and took it down to 1 HP, Lychee Berry does not activate on the turn while the turn is going on. It only activates the turn after. So we see here Thunderbolt, Body Slam breaks the sub, and now this is a losing play because right now, I mean, Blues knows that this is not Pattaya Raikou, so, and that Thunderbolt is not going to be killing unless this is like modest Raikou, which I think is revealed that it isn't because the Raikou is outpacing the Tauros, and Tauros hits 110, Raikou hits 115. And now Blues can just use a combination of Earthquake and Body Slam, and it has enough power points to just break through the Protect sub strategy. Shubname hopes for a choke right here. Calm Minds, clicks Earthquake, and that's over. So we just see the interesting dynamic of Substitute here and like knowing how to use Substitute plus Protect. Same series as that, series that we looked at a little bit before. We got a Lux versus Khalif Gust. Very cool team, by the way. This is obviously my team. I always think that's cool. But we got a Steelix. Khalif tried to bring Steelix on his week 1. He lost the series, but because Steelix never came out. And Steelix didn't come out here either. But check this out. We got Tauros again, base 110 speed. And on the Starmie, base 115. But here, I believe we see Khalif pull out the surprise timid Starmie. I've been hyping up... Let's see, 72. Let's do a calc. No, that's a min roll. So modest, yeah, modest no matter what does more than 52, unless maybe he changed my spread. But yeah, this was timid Starmie, the surprise timid Starmie. I usually like to think modest is better because it modest back then outpaced everything that was necessary, like base 100s. But now that Tauros is becoming relevant, we might start seeing this quirky, like, timid Starmie, which isn't going to KO as much, but it's outpacing notable things like Tauros. And a Lux clicked Body Slam. You know, that was a solid play. You hope for the paralysis. But he says here in the chat, you guys can't see, damn it, I could have subbed. Well, I mean, if you were expecting the modest Starmie, which is most likely, you know, going to be seen, I think you should have clicked Hyper Beam then. No. Body Slam was the play because if this was modest Starmie, right? They're not KOing you with Hydro Pump, and you're gonna outspeed. You're outspeeding modest Starmie. So it was a good idea to just click Body Slam because Hyper Beam wasn't gonna KO, but the timid Starmie surprised. And well, now that I think about it, actually, Alexa's correct. You could have, if you thought you were faster, you could have subbed. And knowing if you were slower, you weren't going to die to anything. Well, I mean, Hydro Pump could have had a good role. See, you could already see, I'm just figuring this out on the fly. Like, it could have subbed there, and then, you know, +1 body slam is most likely going to kill, correct? No, it doesn't. Well, then you'd have to play the mind games of, you know, +1 body slam's not going to kill, and then they just, yeah. I mean, I hope I'm not confusing you guys, but you can already see like, you have to learn how to master the move Substitute and the threat of Substitute in ADV 1v1. It's so important because there's nothing that's going to be like Scarf tricking you. There's nothing that's going to be like, you know, Taunt is a bad move in this game, in this generation. So sub is so powerful, and you need to, it's important to learn how to utilize it, I guess, and how to learn when it's threatening or not. And here we see a very interesting game. This is from Gymsox versus Crocrums. Crocrums actually 3-0'd Gymsox here. Gymsox bringing Feraligatr, garbage Pokemon. I don't know what it does over Blastoise or anything like that, but you know, it's pretty cool. Sceptile's doing work. And here we see a very interesting dynamic here. Crocrums, I think, went Tauros because Tauros just has a really nice matchup versus Typhlosion and Feraligatr. It's faster, Intimidate, and I think Crocrums wasn't expecting the Sceptile, but see an interesting thing here. I want you guys to think here, what do you guys do if you are a Tauros versus a Sceptile? Pause the video, maybe think about it. If you're like a Body Slam Hyper Beam set, if you're banned, what is the play? We see an interesting dynamic here. Sceptile clicks Leaf Blade turn 1, and Tauros just Hyper Beams, not fearing Protect, not fearing Substitute. The Tauros Hyper Beams here. And if I go to Discord... Okay, so this is what Crocrums had to say about why he clicked Hyper Beam. Was expecting Leech Seed, and if they weren't hella defensive, then return the intuitive click killed after sub. So they would probably not go for it. They would not go for the sub because return would kill after it. And if they were, then Hyper Beam was the only play since return had no role to kill from 75% versus a defensive Sceptile. And now, if they were offensive Sceptile, then their most obvious out was tanking a return and killing me in Pataya range. Because, yes, so they would, like, Leaf Blade the Tauros. Tauros hits back with Body Slam, doesn't kill. Gymsox gets the Pataya boost, and Leaf Blade's back. And he said, Bulkless Sceptile sounds pretty ass, so I figured they would at least be a role that would make them take no sub over going for +1 crit. As in trying to kill Tauros with a +1 Leaf Blade crit. So, a very interesting dynamic here. Gymsox says, you know, who hyper beams what, but I think Crocrums made an in-depth play here, knowing that, like, while yes, Body Slam is the intuitive and maybe the safe play, it's calling out Gymsox wanting to hit the Tauros, like, hit the Tauros. So, like, imagine Sceptile here, Leaf Blades, Tauros Body Slams, doesn't kill Sceptile, and then Sceptile gets the Pataya boost and kills the Tauros back. And that was just a smart play from Crocrums. Very good use of Tauros, and like, again, it's like that dynamic of like the threat of Substitute, realizing when maybe the opponent isn't going to make the standard Substitute play. And yeah, I just think it was a nice play, solid play. Easily could have lost a sub here, but this is why Crocrums won the series. Okay, so now we have, I just tried to explain this before, but I realized I was wrong. Okay, so now we have, I think, one of the most important learning games. This is Fragments, a very good 1v1er, 1v1 seasonal, the recent one, and has also performed very well in PL versus Elo Bandit. Everyone knows who Elo Bandit is. Yeah. If you don't, big 1v1 YouTuber. Cool previews. We got Celebi, Starmie, Gengar, Swampert, Typhlosion, Raikou. No need to analyze preview. We're going to learn about substitute mechanics in ADV. So, here's the dynamic here. Substitute turn 1 is always a safe play. Elo Bandit clicks Flamethrower so that the Blast Burn... So, like, if he clicked Blast Burn, he would have to recharge. Celebi subs, Leech Seeds, wins. Okay, we see Leftovers. We know it's not Pataya. So, Celebi has a pretty nice matchup here. Protects again on the Flamethrower. Fragments predicts Typhlosion to just Flames on the sub again. And lives the Flamethrower. Now, Celebi is in a winning position here. Because Protect plus sub plus protect plus sub. Notice how Selby's always has enough HP to keep protecting and subbing. It's faster, and it's slowly wearing down Typhlosion's flamethrower. And now, we need to see an interesting misplay that happened. So we see the protect here, correct? Flamethrower, protect, Leech Seed recover here, and now let's look at what happens. Selby clicks substitute, Typhlosion has flamethrower, and we see goes to 13%. Selby clicks protect, this should be game over. Nothing is activated, protect. Salakberry activates. What happened? Why didn't Salakberry activate before? When at the end of turn 9, at the end of turn 9, Typhlosion's at 13%. Where's the Salakberry? Where Fragments would just click protect? Well, I mean, he still had to outplay it. But anyway, here's the reason why, which I just realized, is if we notice here, what's happening is the item check is happening before Leech Seed. Because look, Leftovers recovery checks for Typhlosion's item. It was at 26%. Salakberry doesn't activate. And so now we see the Leech Seed. And the Leech Seed still takes it down to 13. So what this means is that what should have happened here is Fragments should have used Substitute with Selby here. Because what Substitute does is it allows Fragments to click Protect the next turn. If you imagine subs on the Flamethrower here. Subs, yeah, so like if he subs on the Flamethrower here. Well, that happened. Now, you have more than enough HP to click sub again. Should have substituted again, because knowing that Elo Bandit, by the very off chance that it's Salakberry Typhlosion and not Pataiberry Typhlosion or not anything else, it was the Salakberry Typhlosion. By the off chance that it's some quirky Salak Pokemon, you have to substitute again here. The safe play is honestly, if you just are mixed up, that when you're at this HP, you can honestly just keep clicking sub, because if he clicked sub here, Typhlosion's at 1%, Fragments would get to click protect next turn without it failing. And that's why Elo Bandit took this game and actually won the series 3-0. Yeah, so just an interesting substitute dynamic there. Next, very lastly, I want to talk about some quick seed teaming that I was talking about last time. PQS and Crucify pulled this off beautifully. They saw that their opponents, Mincemeat and Splash, were just spamming sample teams in round 1 and finding success with it. So PQS and Crucified together built this preview, Sceptile, Drachi, Swampert, where Swampert actually 3-0'd this specific preview with this set here. Lures, look it out, notice how this team is hard luring the Charizard. Grass Steel, weak to Fire. Swampert usually loses the HP Grass Charizard. But here we see a Swampert that is bulked for the Pataya HP Grass from Charizard and is hitting it with Hidden Power Rock over Rock Slide so it doesn't miss. Boosted, Swampert lives, GG. And the same thing happens here versus Mincemeat. The exact same thing happens. Hard lures the Charizard, click sub, lives the Hidden Power Grass, and Hidden Power Rock takes it. So you can use the sample teams. They are good teams. I made them. That's me being cocky. But realize that knowledgeable 1v1ers such as Crucify and PQS are going to use that to their advantage and be like, okay, I'm going to build teams that have great matchups versus sample teams, especially if my opponents were known to spam them in round 1. And there have been some people that have been using the sample teams round 1 and round 2. And yes, they've been getting away with it, but as soon as they're winning games and they're playing people that have also won games, as that is how the 1v1 duo Swiss works. If we look at round 3 already, yes, like we could see that the teams that are having 2 points are playing the teams with 2 points. Those are going to be some good matchups, and you're going to start playing better and better people that are using better and more diverse teams. So yeah, now after we have looked at all of these, we are going to look at... Okay, so we're going to look at 2 sets today. Waylaid versus SiirinZ. Hold on. No, we don't. Yes, we want Waylaid on the top. Versus Death to the West and Boat. Those are the sets we're going to be looking at today. Gosh, dude, I actually just recorded myself explaining all of these sets, and I forgot to click I forgot to click record, so here we go. Waylaid, accomplished 1v1er, PL champion, does well usually in seasonals and just all tournaments in general. Is a veteran versus very new to 1v1, SiirinZ. Plays a lot of ADV though. Anyway, let's look at these teams. So, Walrein, Blaziken, and Sceptile. The first thing I noticed when looking at this team, especially when seeing the opposing Raikou, is Raikou answers Sceptile, which is sometimes shaky, because if Sceptile doesn't have Leech Seed, Calm Mind Raikou should win. Standard offensive Sceptiles, Raikou can win, like it can win. I think Sceptile is usually favored as is a faster Pokemon that resists electric, but it is still a little bit shaky. Blaziken can also outplay Raikou potentially if it's like Swords Dance Salac Berry, could get lucky. That's the scary thing with Blaziken, is that I feel like it always has the potential to beat a lot of things that it usually shouldn't. And I think Walrein would be a nonsense pick here. As Walrein, yes, maybe beats the Swampert, but so does Sceptile. Sceptile beats the Swampert, Raikou, and should beat the Medicham. That's the thing. Sceptile's matchup is absolutely absurd here. Look at this solid team, but Sceptile is still generating positive matchups, as we saw in that quick Sceptile overview that I did. And you're seeing Sceptile all over the place. You never see that in ADVOU. Waylaid here. The Sceptile answer has to be the Raikou somehow. I don't know how it beats the Leech Seed Sceptile, but let's just see what happens, because this is a very interesting series that happens. We see Raikou in on the Sceptile. Leech Seed turn 1. Toxic Raikou. Extremely intelligent play from Waylaid. Here's why. We'll see later on, but this is Raikou's only way to beat this Sceptile. And the reason that SiirinZ didn't substitute with Sceptile is that, let's say you Leech Seed turn 1 on the Raikou, and... well, actually, let me think for a second. Because here's the thing. SiirinZ honestly had a pretty free substitute here if he was faster. Because, like, you know, you scout out anything, even if they sub. Well, actually, here's the thing. Let me reverse. I like SiirinZ's idea of Leech Seeding here, and here's why. Sceptile's safe play, if it has sub, is the sub, and sub is prevalent on almost every single Sceptile set. But if you sub and the Raikou subs, then you can't hit it with Leech Seed, and Leaf Blade might not KO, might not break through, especially if this is very bulky Sceptile, not special attack invested, which we'll find out it probably isn't because it has leftovers. Waylaid, not only is his only chance to win using Toxic, but he knows that he has a very good chance because of SiirinZ thinking like that. Because of SiirinZ being like, well, I'm just going to leech the Raikou before Raikou subs up and I can't do anything. Waylaid knows that. Sceptile's not going to be behind a sub on turn 1 and clicks Toxic. And let's see how this plays out. So we see Leech Seed still heals back. And remember before, SiirinZ still doesn't know what Raikou's item is right now because the item check activates before Leech Seed. And when Raikou was at full HP, we don't know if it's leftovers or Pataya. So we see an interesting play here. Forest clicks sub even though it's toxic. SiirinZ is toxic but still clicks sub. I think the idea was not knowing if it's Pataya Berry and not wanting to take an HP Ice. And Leech Seed sub protect would still break down the Raikou even though it's toxic. So potentially intelligent play, but I don't know why you would run toxic plus HP Ice. I mean, I guess the Salamence matchup is a little bit shaky, so HP Ice could have been expected. But yeah, and we see Raikou itself pull on the substitute. And look at this. Look at this. Look where we're already at. Like, we're already, even after turn 2, the Sceptile is still at 84 because of Leech Seed and Protect, even though it got toxic and has already taken 1, 2 turns of toxic damage. We can see the Protect. Tries the Leaf Blade on the Protect. We see a toxic sub-protect Raikou. No Calm Mind plus Thunderbolt. No Hidden Power Ice, presumably. Very interesting set. Like, this is a relic of ADV 1v1. This is what used to be ran, but is not seemingly ran anymore because a lot of Pokemon run Rest, so Toxic isn't that good. But we see here Toxic potentially putting in work. If Waylaid has Rest, click sub, and thinking Leaf Blade would kill through, but I guess it doesn't. Very bulky Raikou. I assume this Raikou is maybe max speed, max HP is what I'm thinking. So we Leaf Blade. Look at that. Look at how much. Look at after turn 4. Sceptile is still at 86%. Leaf Blade. See the protect on the Leaf Blade. This is only SiirinZ's only chance. Has to try to break through this Raikou. Hope that the Raikou doesn't have rest, because if it doesn't have rest, look what's happening here. Leaf Blade. Sub. If Raikou doesn't have rest, the Sceptile still wins even with Toxic, but as we will see here. Leaf Blades again. Please don't have Toxic, or please don't have Rest. It is Rest Toxic Raikou. Very cool. No Thunderbolt, just going for the full pressure stall strategy. Probably a very bulky lefties Raikou. And Raikou has beaten the faster grass type in Sceptile. Sceptile meets his match. Great game 1 from Waylaid. Great pick. Let's look at game 2. Waylaid bringing in an old team of me and VG jungles built around Walrein when it realized that Walrein can beat Zapdos with Icy Wind and Ice Beam because it can tank Thunderbolt. Also has Encore, so it can even play like substitute. That's what makes Walrein great, is access to Encore, honestly. But yeah, so that's the Zapdos answer. And here, SiirinZ bringing a pretty solid team. I mean, like Entei, Zapdos, Regice. Absurdly weak to Blissey, but that's okay. Not a lot of people are bringing Blissey, which I think people should. Serene Grace, Ice Beam, Freeze is ridiculous, and it's Blissey. Blissey does Blissey things. Anyway, thank goodness I'm not paused. Holy crap, I almost thought I was paused again for a second. Here's what I think happens here. So this is supposed to lure in Zapdos, this team with the Walrein. I think SiirinZ realizes, okay, accomplished one, good 1v1 or Waylaid, would not bring a team 3-0'd by Zapdos. What are the two possible answers to Zapdos? Potentially the Marowak and definitely the Walrein. What's going to handle those two? The Regice. So Waylaid could have made the ballsy pick Heracross hard into the Regice, because Heracross hard loses the Entei / Zapdos. We see Waylaid make the Walrein pick here. And here's why I actually still really like the Walrein pick. Because Walrein covers for, obviously, SiirinZ just being like Zapdos wins, I'm going Zapdos. But what Walrein also covers is, which Marowak does as well, but what Walrein also covers is the Entei, because Entei could have been a nasty pick. Entei could have been picked into the Heracross, which would have been picked into the Regice, which was picked into the Walrein, which was the Zapdos answer, or Regice picked into the Marowak, which was the Zapdos answer. So I like Waylaid's pick here. I like Waylaid covering the, okay, this guy doesn't know that my team lures Zapdos, but it also covers the crazy read. But SiirinZ makes the nice play and goes Regice into the Walrein. Surf, Amnesia, Encore. Waylaid doesn't click X yet until he sees Seismic Toss. Seismic Toss, Walrein's not winning, doesn't have rest. It's over. Great pick from SiirinZ. Knowledgeable pick. Regice into Walrein. We're on to game 3. Game 3. Waylaid brings my old team. An old team that I made once. Dragon Dance, Tyranitar, Defensive Sceptile, and Dusclops. Dusclops is supposed to be the answer to physical threats. Sadly, it will lose to a Heracross if it has Guts. Dusclops generates a really nice matchup overall versus these two with Calm Mind and Ice Beam and Pressure, destroying Zapdos and Salamence and Zapdos. And if it's Heracross is picked and it doesn't have Guts, Wisp Dusclops, and this Dusclops actually has Psychic, which is interesting for the Heracross. Yeah, but sadly here we see something interesting. SiirinZ makes the nice 3-0 pick. I mean, Waylaid could have gone Sceptile, but it's the defensive Sceptile, so it's going to lose to the Salamence. It should beat the Zapdos unless it's Bandit Drill Peck, but also has to hope for Mega Horn miss. So I still see the idea of the Dusclops pick, hoping that it isn't Guts. Sadly, it is Bandit. Hidden Power Ghost Guts. Wisp gets the Guts thing. What's interesting here is that I think Wisp Clops might be a thing of the past, just like this team is a thing of the past. I think Counter Clops is the way to go. And what's interesting is even though Counter wouldn't kill on the first turn because of Dusclops' low HP, I think with the lefties recovery, 52 and 52, it would have 2-hit KO'd a Bandit Heracross, which would have been great here. But SiirinZ makes the Heracross play. Hold on, who tagged me? No. What am I thinking about now? Yes. Great pick. Heracross. Waylaid is down. 1-2. Game 4. Waylaid bringing Typhlosion, Regice Zapdos, and SiirinZ bringing a cool Ludicolo Entei Metagross team. First thing I saw from this preview is, what's the Entei answer? I mean, Calm Mind Entei destroys Zapdos. I would think it would beat Typhlosion because, like, you just kind of Calm Mind, and kill it with Flamethrower unless the Typhlosion has a physical move. And, I mean, I think Amnesia Regice still loses because Entei could just crit, and it stalls out Seismic Toss with Substitute and Leftovers, I think. But Regice might have a positive matchup versus Entei. I'm actually not sure. I should probably test that matchup before talking about this set. But I feel like Entei has too good of a matchup to not click here. But we see here, SiirinZ makes another ballsy pick, tries to go Metagross hard into the Regice, and Waylaid calls that out with the Typhlosion. But I don't think this is actually a call out, because I think what Typhlosion was is like, yo, my Entei matchup is stinky, and this is a veteran pick from Waylaid, going Typhlosion into the two Pokemon, hoping that SiirinZ quote-unquote chokes, and goes Typhlosion into the Metagross / Ludicolo, as Blast Burn Typhlosion is still going to KO the Ludicolo with Blaze. Ludicolo can't do anything about it unless it's Rain Dance, which, I guess Waylaid just didn't think it was Rain Dance Ludicolo here. Would have been a hard pick to make anyway, as it still loses to these two. But there's also something else here. Yes, Typhlosion is going to win this, but there's something interesting to take note here. Earthquake, you would think, okay, Waylaid sub, Blaze Blast Burn, Blaze boosted Blast Burn. Waylaid Blast Burns early. You might not think that's big of a deal, but I like the idea here, because if you imagine that, like, the Typhlosion sub, and then SiirinZ predicts that and is actually in Durstyle like Metagross, SiirinZ is waiting for the supposed time that Waylaid is going to Blast Burn. But I think Waylaid Blast Burns early, just to kind of like, because he's not expecting SiirinZ to ever endure on turn 2, as it just doesn't make sense pace wise, like pattern wise. So this was a very intelligent Blast Burn, an underrated aspect of like this dynamic. It might not seem like much, but it was a lot there. So very nice play by Waylaid, and this is back. This is a really interesting game 5. Waylaid's end, we got 3 great Pokemon: Metagross, Zapdos, Tyranitar, ADV OU Legends, ADV 1v1 Legends, in on Charizard, Swampert, Celebi, a standard Fire, Water, Grass. What I see here is, what is Waylaid's Swampert answer? Is it Hidden Power Grass Zapdos? Probably. It could be Hidden Power Grass Tyranitar. Very, very rare, but it maybe could be Hidden Power Grass Metagross, but like, you know, Banned Earthquake is just going to destroy the Metagross, so it's like, you know, I don't know about that. So I think what SiirinZ is thinking here is, wow, I really want to go Zapdos. I really want to go Swampert, but like, the other thing you got to think here is this. So the Celebi, Calm Mind Celebi is going to destroy the Zapdos, usually. Celebi, look at just Celebi's matchup is insane here. I mean, like, if it's the defensive Leech Seed set, it's going to stomp the Metagross. Sludge Bomb doesn't kill. Has to be Hidden Power Bug. The Tyranitar would have to be Hidden Power Bug. And honestly, it's ADV. Hidden Power Bug is very likely on the Metagross or the Tyranitar. So if you're expecting one of these to be the Celebi answer, what do you pick? You pick the Swampert. And not only that, but the set that we will show that it is, the Spadef Rollout Pert is going to have a nice matchup for Zapdos. But we see Toxic Electric type again from Waylaid. Rollouts turn 1. Protect. So, okay, actually, there's a lot going on here. Why does the Swampert have Rollout, you might be wondering? So this is my Spadef Curse Pert set with Rollout. The idea of Rollout is beating Zapdoses that aren't carrying Hidden Power Grass, because Rollout has a ton of PP. Not only does it have 32, versus this, it technically has 64, and here's why. Because when you use Rollout and it hits the Zapdos, and Zapdos clicks Protect, even though Swampert has used Rollout twice, it's still only 1 power point, because when you go into a cycle of Rollout, you're only using 1 power point. So it effectively kind of like nullifies Zapdos' ability Pressure, which causes the opponent to use moves, use their power points twice. Like, Yeah. So it's kind of cool that rollout does that. But what's interesting here is that Waylaid is probably toxic, protect, sub, rest. Can the rollout Swampert prevail versus that? We see rollout versus protect. Important to protect here so that, you know, you're not just letting the Swampert roll out all over you. Okay, so now we see sub. Reminder that rollout can miss, but it also just didn't break the sub. So Waylaid is now sitting pretty behind sub. Swampert is slowly dying to toxic. Protect. See protect again. See protect again. Swampert needs the rest after cursing. And now we see Waylaid make another intelligent play. Resting, even well here, it's like, why rest here? Rest is nice because when you're sleeping, you're not using power points. And right now, this is a battle of power points. And Swampert's not going to be breaking you through with rollout right now because, like, I mean, Swampert is also sleeping. Swampert wakes up, clicks curse again to make sure that the first hit of rollout is going to actually break sub. Toxic to pressure the Swampert. Now you might think, okay, Waylaid, why don't you not toxic so that the Swampert can't rest and can't waste power points? Well, if we look at the move slot here, I don't think the Zapdos is going to be winning if it's just protect sub resting, because Swampert can just spam curse and spam earthquake and use power points that way. Okay, yes. So here we go. Now here's an interesting thing here. We got protect, sub, protect, sub. Here's something interesting here. Sub. Why didn't SiirinZ try to roll out here? Very intelligent play to not roll out here, because here's what would happen potentially. If Swampert used a rollout here when Zapdos was subbing, Waylaid could sub, protect to break. So like Waylaid could keep subbing to make, and remember Swampert can't rest in between rollout because it would be locked into rollout. So it was very intelligent to curse there so he didn't lock into himself at rollout while toxic was starting to chip away really fast. So he curses. Earthquake wouldn't do anything, you know, might as well just start hitting harder again. And Waylaid, without hidden power grass or any attack, just has to rest and hope for the best. But here rollout is going to prove to be way too much pressure as Zapdos is losing HP. Rollout is slowly breaking down, and Swampert is winning this pressure stall war, and SiirinZ takes it in a great Game 5 to bring his team back into having potential for playoffs. Both of these teams were 0-2. Waylaid and his teammate, SiirinZ and their teammate, were both 0-2. SiirinZ got a win for the team against a very good 1v1er. Great win, and just a very nice set overall, with two toxic electric types. Alrighty. Let's restart this song for start. Help YouTube. United Airlines, sure. And now we got Boat, also known as Five Wings 99, but we will call him Boat so he doesn't get angry, versus Depth to the West. Depth to the West and his teammate Crow Crumbs and Boat and his teammate Jim Sox are both 2-0, so both very good ADV 1v1ers. I mean, Boat won ADV Cup for 1v1 Classic and is also an ADV Council. Very good 1v1er. Both of these players should have prepped, and this is going to be a great battle, which is why I'm highlighting it. Look at Depth to the West scenes. We see Starmie T-Tar. I think it's a great core. I mean, think about what Starmie loses to. The Electrics. Tyranitar is the ultimate electric beater. Here on this team, I expect to see the Taunt Dragon Dance Tyranitar to beat Registeel. Because this team just loses to Registeel, Amnesia, Sussex Toss, GG. Unless you hope for a crit, which is honestly not that bad of an answer. Anyway, that's the analysis from this team. Metagross answer is looking a little bit shaky. I mean, like, Metagross can easily bulk for a +1 modest Hydro Pump from Starmie. Starmie could hope that the Metagross isn't Shadow Ball, I guess, and Starmie just clicks Hydro Pump twice. That's fine. But I would think that the Metagross might be Hidden Power Bug here for Celebi, and that should KO Starmie, I would think. I'm pretty sure it does. Might have to check that. Anyway, and from Boat is bringing Blastoise, which is Boat's favorite Pokemon. It is his creation. It beats Zapdos, usually, with tanking a Thunderbolt and clicking Icy Wind into Torrent Boosted Surf or Hydro Cannon. But here we see the power of prep from Depth to the West. So let's look at this. notice that the Zapdos answer here is Blastoise. Yes, Metagross can beat some Zapdos, but the main Zapdos answer is Blastoise. But here's the problem with using your water type as an electric type answer. Sub, Thunderbolt. It is Pataya Zapdos luring in the Blastoise. The only Zapdos that is going to beat Blastoise, unless it's like Salac Zapdos, I guess, would win. Because Zapdos, while Blastoise can tank any uninvested Thunderbolt, it's not tanking a +1 Thunderbolt from Zapdos. Death to the West knows that Boat was using this as a Zapdos answer in previous rounds and was just talking about that idea. Great prep from Death to the West. Death to the West takes game 1 with a solid team. Game 2. Look at this sick preview from Boat. I love it. Porygon 2, Charizard, Ludicolo. Ludicolo, Charizard, you're basically packing water, fire, water, grass in one core. Awesome. Then you can bring something swanky like the Porygon 2. Porygon 2, I was not expecting to see from Boat. It's often just a worse Blissey in my opinion, but it does have that preview pressure of being versatile. Could be something crazy with Band. You never know what Trace can beat. Yeah, I mean, Porygon 2 can do some cool things. Conversion 2, Thunder Wave, Recover, still has Bolt Beam coverage, all that stuff. Does not have download. Do not listen to this. From Death to the West teams, we see Metagross, Regice, Blaziken. Charizard answer here is gonna be like probably a rest Regice, I would think. I mean, Charizard versus Regice is surprisingly solid for Regice because Regice is so bulky and Charizard just doesn't hit hard enough from the get-go with Flamethrower, because it only has base on 109's special attack. That's not a lot. So yeah, I mean, so I'm expecting like, or the Blaziken could somehow lure the Charizard. Maybe even the Metagross, I don't know. Charizard matcher is kind of sus from Death to the West. And Boat could read that and go Ludicolo into the Regice, which would be the main Regice beater, with the Leech Seed Seismic Toss set, hoping that it's not Rest Regice. Rest Regice would destroy the Ludicolo, and Rest Regice would definitely solidify its matchup versus Charizard. Like if it was like a Resto Chesto potentially, eliminating the crit potential from Charizard. And I don't think Porygon 2 is ever a pick here. Should lose to Metagross, should lose to Blaziken, not breaking through Regice unless it's like banned. But Porygon 2 sadly doesn't do much here. So let's see what happens. I also forgot to mention, Ludicolo's matchup versus this team is nuts, because it should beat most Regice, Blaziken. Metagross cannot KO Ludicolo, even with a 252 plus Bandit Sludge Bomb. Counter Ludicolo will win. So Bolt makes the safe play. Ludicolo, he's like, you know, what the how is this team going to beat Ludicolo? Death to the West goes the Regice, presumably into the Charizard, Porygon 2, and giving the best chance versus Ludicolo, as it actually reveals itself to be. Hold on, let's go this song. No ads. Oh, it's an ad. No. Please tell me I'm still recording. Thank goodness I am. Okay. So, it's Thunderwave Regice. Thunderwave might be an underrated move. I mean, it has the chance to paralyze the opponent, and you're automatically faster. And as we've seen with Sceptile and Tauros and the move Substitute, speed is of utmost importance in ADV 1v1. So let's see how this plays out. Ice Beam, still doing a ton of damage. Seismic Toss, way too consistent of damage. Seismic Toss and Leech Seed. Death to the West would need a single paralysis to win, I think. Ice Beams again. Seismic Toss does not get paralyzed. One more Seismic Toss, and this Regice is dead. Ice Beam. I would probably need 2 paralyses, actually. Paralysis. Yeah. So just a solid 3-0 pick by Boat. Kind of weird on Death to the West to bring a team 3-0'd by Ludicolo, unless it was like a sub Metagross, maybe baiting out a counter. But yeah. 1-1, tied up. Game 3. Both bringing Heracross Zapdos Walrein. Seeing the Walrein again in a very interesting preview from Death to the West. Alakazam Heracross Jolteon. What? Like, it's very, very weird in general. I think Jolteon kind of sucks, I gotta admit. I mean, like, why not just use Raikou here? Raikou is so much more solid versus Zapdos, as banned Zapdos is a pain for this team. Zapdos, Raikou also just beats a lot more with Calm Mind, but I think the idea of Jolteon here might be putting some more pressure on Aerodactyl speed ties wise. Jolteon also with Hidden Power Ice is a lot better versus Sceptile than Raikou is. And I don't know, Crobat, lol, I don't know. Yeah, so weirdly flimsy team from Death to the West. And the Heracross matchup is nice. You have an Alakazam. I don't know if I have two. I mean, like, okay, so Walrein does nothing here. Loses to the Jolteon, loses to Heracross. Okay, you can Encore Alakazam into Calm Mind, but you're never breaking through it. Heracross is too much good of a matchup to not pick it, but let's see what happens here. We're going to see a very intelligent play here. Check this out. Endures on the Psychic. Encores the Endure. Amazing, amazing, amazing play from Death to the West, because here's what he realized. Calm Mind Alakazam destroys Zapdos and Walrein. What would be luring an Alakazam? A Heracross clicking Endure, turn 1 on the Psychic, outspeeding with Salac Berry, and KOing with Mega Horn. Death to the West knows this and clicks Encore on the Endure, the priority Endure turn 1. Great, great, great play from Death to the West. Very, like, just aware play from Death to the West. Hard predicting that. This could have just Mega Horn turn 1, and Death to the West would have looked stupid, but great, great play. Awesome play. Encoring the Endure turn 1. Realizing the potential Alakazam lure. Even though it just could have been banned Zapdos, hoping no barrier Zam. But, like, great play from Death to the West. And now, we see Game 4. I talked way too long about this when I recorded before. I think it's pretty simple. 2 Steel types. Well, first of all, this is a classic. This is a boat team that was a former sample, but I took away because it loses the Seismic Toss Blissey. Because it's like Taunt Toxic Houndoom, hoping that it isn't. And with Lumberry, like, what the heck? Hoping that it isn't Seismic Toss Blissey. But what I like about Boat's team, though, before I show this team, is that it has an insanely nice Zapdos matchup. Blastoise obviously beats most Zapdos besides Pataya. Regice beats Zapdos usually, and Houndoom has a surprisingly nice Zapdos matchup because, like, yeah, we did. We go to Pac-Man. Hold on a second. Yeah, so, like, Houndoom has a nice Zapdos matchup because if Zapdos isn't running max speed, Houndoom can tank anything from Zapdos usually unless it's banned, and it can Fire Blast or crunch it down and just 2-hit KO it. Also, if it's banned, Will-O-Wisp, nice Houndoom. Houndoom, like this, I love that this team has a great Zapdos matchup. But here, it's pretty simple. It's Houndoom into these two, losing to the Gyarados, or you go Thunderbolt Regice into the Gyarados, which this is probably Thunderbolt Regice because, you know, this is Boat's team and everyone knows it, and it also helps the opposing Blastoise matchup. So this is just a solid 50-50 read, and Death to the West calls it and goes hard Scizor into the Regice. And it's sub, which is extra safe because it definitely could have lost to a counter Regice if Boat was like, okay, they think they know this team, I'm going to mix up the sets. Decided not to mix up the sets and instead lost to sub reversal Scizor. Cool set, great series, and Death to the West beats Boat. And their team is actually 4-0 right now, which is ridiculous. And Boat and Gym Socks, probably one of the favorites to win the tour, are now 2-2. But expect to see both of these teams in playoffs. They're both bringing cool stuff. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed me analyzing these sets. Now we're going to look at some crazy things that happened. This song is too good to not use as the background for the funny moments part. First, we're going to look at a very funny series. I'm not going to go in super depth in this, obviously. Dead Gamer Man versus Keenix. Just look at these 5 games. It's hilarious. I'm just going to let them play. Game 1, Marowak in on the Medicham. It's bulk up Medicham. Phone ring hits once and crits. Yikes. Dead gets super lucky there. Sorry, game 1. Keenix says XD and left. So, game 2. Dead Gamer Man bringing Marowak Ice type again. And Keenix with a very cool looking team. But let's see what happens here. We got Regice into the Blaziken. Overheat, turn 1. Amnesia. Check this out. So Regice actually should be beating this Blaziken. It's Rest. Resto Chesto. This also happened in a different series that I didn't cover, but Regice did just beat a Blaziken. But here, Dead actually just full-on chokes here. Decides to, you know what, I am going to start to put Blaziken into a range where Reversal starts doing damage. And Ice Beams. Oh, Dead Gamer Man, stop. Why are you doing this? Why do you do this? A full-on choke, and Kenix takes game 2. Game 3. Kenix bringing a slow bro. I don't understand what it is with people like that don't main 1v1 are like bringing slow bro a lot. Like, I just don't get it. But let's see what happens here. Tyranitar into the slow bro. Taunts on the calm mind. Great play. But look at this. Rock slide. Flinched. Rock slide. Flinch. Rock slide. So 2 rock slide flinches and 3 rock slide hints. Dead Gamer Man says, oof, sorry about that. GG3. Kenix, can you just shut up? After... yeah, I mean, just crazy series so far. Anyway, game 4. Here we go. Articuno versus Starmie. It's Cosmic Power. Starmie totally destroys and beats the Articuno. Very cool, honestly. Cosmic Power Surf. Game 5. Check this out. It's Zapdos. In on Celebi. It's Ban Zapdos. And Ban Zapdos with Drill Peck just loses to the Celebi with Leech Sub Protect. LOL, Kenix won the series. Next. What was this? Oh, okay, you guys. Okay. So, in my ADV 1v1 mega post, let's actually look at it real quick. Let's just look at it. Let's just look. Let's go to 1v1. Let's scroll down to 1v1 old gens. Where are you? There you are. Let's go to page 1. Hopefully this is showing well. Yes, let's go to page 1. What did I put here? Gengar has Levitate in all caps. In all caps. And what happens here? You guys guessed it. It clicked Bone Ring. It did happen. If I made an ADV 1v1 bingo, this would have been on the bingo. Next. The Politoed returns. Let's see what happens. When I was watching this replay and I didn't know what happened, I saw this. I was like, return. Oh my gosh. This is not happening again. Icy Wind, the critical hit boost. It's going to outspeed. No way Politoed takes it. But it does not land the crit, sadly. And Tauros wins. But rest in peace, Politoed. Next. Oh, this was very interesting. I saw a Cloyster and the Cloyster won. But not in the way you think. Rain Dance on the counter. Rain Dance is again Ice Beam, Ice Beam, Ice Beam. The weirdest interaction I've ever seen. This had to have been Bandit Swampert with counter, but Cloyster won. But it was Rain Dance, Ice Beam. Didn't even click a water move. I don't know why this Cloyster was Rain Dance, but like, I guess that's kind of cool. I don't know. Well, there you go. Cloyster won a game. Why did I show this one? Oh! I thought this was cool. Raichu generated a nice matchup being an electric type that beats Tyranitar, and it still beats Blastoise. Alakazam would have been a nice pick here, but check this out. Raichu got a win! Reason why you would use Raichu over the other electric types with this sub-reversal, you actually beat Tyranitar, which no other electric type does unless you're cross-chop Electabuzz or some garbage. Yeah, so just kind of cool. And see, you even see the safety. Encore's the Icy Wind, and now we can just Thunderbolt. Goodbye. And lastly, I wanted to show you this. So, I'm just going to let it play. Check this out. Fake out. Bam. Tons of damage. Hariyama's about to die to a Hyper Beam. Nope, it's Endure Hariyama on the Bandit Urshifu. Select Berry Hariyama. Why? This thing is so slow. Reversal Hariyama. Crazy that it got a win. Yeah, so I just wanted to show those quirky highlights. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys like my analysis, the trends, all that stuff. And stay tuned for ADV 1v1, the duo Swiss round 3. Yeah, got some hype matchups, all that stuff. Make sure to like, subscribe. Really enjoyed the feedback on my last video. I got a lot of great feedback. You guys seem to like it, and I put a lot of work into this tournament. ADV 1v1 in general. I love this metagame. I love commentating it, analyzing it, all that stuff. And I hope you guys have a great day. And I'll see you guys in the next video.